Association and this station.
Hi, this is Pastor Tom. Did you know there's a place kids can seek out help when they're away from home and something goes wrong? They find themselves in a difficult spot or even a dangerous situation. Maybe another child is bullying them or a stranger is following them. Perhaps on a date and things just go bad. In Lincoln, here's where they can find help. It's called Safe Place. Safe Place is a national program for children taking place in thousands of cities across the United States. The People City Mission is sponsoring this program in our community and has set up a number of businesses, fire stations, schools, and nonprofits around the city to become safe locations where kids can seek out help. They just need to look for the big yellow sign that says Safe Place on it. Then go inside and ask for help. We will be quickly connected to them and ensure they make it back home or to whatever resources are needed. If you'd like to find out more about Safe Place and ways in which you can get involved, just go to pcmlincoln.org. Remember, when we all do a little, we change a lot.
Start your Sundays off right with Jeff and Nicole Essink on Fitness Fanatics. Jeff and Nicole discuss health and wellness, how to achieve fitness goals, and more through the life of gym owners and gym goers. It's Fitness Fanatics from 9 to 11 a.m. on Sundays on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
If you can plan barbecues and weddings, you can plan to protect yourself from a natural disaster. Sign up for local alerts, prepare an emergency kit, and make a family communications plan. Get started at ready.gov/plan.
Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
This message is for Shauna, my mom, who just finished her high school diploma. I wanted to say I'm so proud of you for finishing school. You taught me it's never too late to achieve your dreams. I hope to make you as proud as you have made me.
When you graduate, they graduate. Finish your high school diploma for you and for them. Visit finishyourdiploma.org to find free and supportive adult education centers near you. Brought to you by the Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.
This is Jay Foreman, 93.7 The Ticket. Talk to you about Battle in the Vault. 3 games, 1 ticket for the whole day. Tuesday, December 20th. Game times are 1, 4, and 6:30 p.m. Concordia against Oklahoma Westland. Number 23, Mississippi State against Drake. Nebraska against Queens University. Down at PBA. Be there and don't be late.
Welcome into Fitness Fanatics on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Now here are your hosts, Jeff and Nicole Essink.
Happy Sunday. This is my first time doing the intro. I'm kind of afraid I'm going to mess it up. I already messed it up because normally Jeff says, all right. And I didn't say that, but that's all right. So yeah, flying solo today. Well, not flying solo, flying without Jeff. I have a co-host today, Molly Peterson. She is a fellow FXBer and instructor. So we will talk about her kind of Farrell's journey here in this first segment after I kind of talk about just our normal idle chit chat that we talk about without Jeff, though. I'm sure he's listening, which is making me a little more nervous because he's actually on his way to Iowa right now. So I don't know. He's probably listening in the car on the way there. But yeah, so as business owners, we have to divide and conquer sometimes. And so that's what today is. Jeff and our son, Ben, are heading to Iowa for Christmas with his family. And because of the show, which the show's not that, I mean, we could have pre-recorded or figured something out for the show, but we also are in the middle of our big move. So tomorrow, our new location, Meadow Lane, opens. And so I have a lot of little finishing touches to do. If you've ever moved, which we all have in this room, the moving part is the easiest part. It's this like final, like you think you're done. And then you're like, oh shoot, I still have to get this. I still have to get this. I still have to get this. So that's what today is for me. But so that's why it's just me. No Jeff today, but we have Molly as a co-host. We'll be talking about her here in a second, like I said. And then later on, we will have our 10-week winner, Kane, is going to be in. He'll be in at 10, and we'll talk about his little kind of Farrell's journey. So if you guys have any questions, feel free to text in at 402-464-5685.
Yeah,
I know.
You didn't even have to look at it.
Yes, I did. I cheated. I looked on the stream. I know.
How long are the finishing touches? You said you had some finishing touches left?
Yeah, well, like some things aren't like hooked up, like the TV screens aren't hooked up. Got to do one last cleaning of the mats and stuff like that. So it's not a ton of stuff. We also, as a gym, we adopted a family for Christmas, and so a large family. And so later today, we're also meeting at the gym to wrap all the gifts. And there's a lot. It's like a family of 10. So we'll be wrapping a lot of gifts today. So lots of stuff, but it's all good, good stuff. But it's just, we really couldn't get it all done. We had classes last week at Yankee Ridge. And so we were still doing that and basically running from classes at Yankee Ridge straight up to Meadow Lane to get things done. Like I was literally averaging like 25,000 steps every day last week. Like my feet and shins hurt so bad.
At least you're on the backstretch, right?
Yes. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Nice. So close. We even had like a little open house for our members to come in and check it out yesterday. So it looks like a gym if you go in and look. Just got to make sure everything's running smooth because 4 a.m. tomorrow classes start. So it'll be fun. We're looking forward to it. So, if you have any questions as we're talking, go ahead and kind of text in or put it in on the chat. And then also got to talk about our next 10-week session that starts in January. So definitely hit us up, fxblincoln.com, if you need more information about that. We will be talking about that more too as Kane comes in to talk about his last 10 weeks and winning the $1,000. But so that's it for kind of the catch up with us. So I'm going to turn it over. We're going to talk to Molly here. She's one of our instructors at the Meadow Lane location now. And you haven't been there since like last weekend, right? So you haven't seen the shiny all put together.
I stopped in last weekend at some point, and I mean, it was pretty well functional. I would say there was still a few things that needed to be put away and things that needed to be figured out, but it looks really good. It is awesome.
It's exciting.
So I'm really excited when we start that next week.
Woohoo. Tomorrow.
Yeah.
Tomorrow. I know. Tomorrow. Okay. So let's get everyone familiar with you and kind of your Ferals journey, because I know you started the session after the session we got here, our first full session.
First full session,
spring of 2018.
Right. And I had heard, I don't know.
You'd already done Ferals before.
I'd done it before. Yeah. Way back when. I had been mostly just kind of doing a lot of running and regular gym work. And my boyfriend, who's now my husband at the time, was like, you got to try Ferals. And I was like, okay, yeah, I've actually heard of it. And so I did my first session with Ferals in January 2012. And I will absolutely say, like, the results I saw and the changes in my body were things that I had not seen in my adult life before. Just so much toning and all of that. And even though I'd been running 3 to 5 miles a day, I mean, I was wiped with cardio after a kickboxing session. And so one thing I learned there was that even whatever fitness level you are, everybody's gassed.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
When they start Ferals. I don't care if you've been running 3 or 5 miles a day or if you're coming straight from the couch. Everybody's in the same exact boat when they start it. And I continued with Ferals for a year. And then I went back to doing some running. I was training for my second half marathon and that kind of thing. And then we got married and we had what I describe as my litter of children, because I had 3 within 2 years.
Yeah.
But a set of twins in there. So, and when I kind of got back to regular life in 2017, my twins were born May 30th of 2017. About, I want to say March of 2018 was when I started with Jeff and Nicole. I had heard, they were kind of coming in mid-session, the session before I started, and I'd heard an advertisement that they were offering this deal, just trying to drum up more business, because I think it had just kind of been cycling through the same crowds. And they reached out to people who'd been former members, and I'm like, you know what? I've been thinking I should do it anyway, because I knew as far as efficiency went and the results went, there was no better place. I mean, I'd done every different kind of training, and some were more successful than others, but I was like, Ferals, it's 45 minutes. I get there, I get it done. I don't have to think about anything that I'm doing. There's somebody grilling me up on the mic, telling me what I need to be doing. And I loved it. It was absolutely for me. My husband then decided to join in August. So my twins had turned 1 in June of that year, right? Like
at the 10-week party.
At the 10-week party, my twins were a year old, and so it was a big deal. And then my husband had rejoined, and he had been instructing before Jeff and Nicole were back, and he had just a very demanding job and 3 babies at home.
Yeah.
So it just wasn't a good time for him to continue, but he came right back. And, PIO at the time, it was PIO, now is Meadowlane, was looking for instructors. They were really trying to build up, all of that. So it's a good experience for everyone. So you get new voices on the mic. And I had been maybe, I think it was maybe my 3rd or 4th 10 weeks, but I don't even know if I'd missed one class yet.
That's possible.
So,
Yeah.
Jeff just approached me and said, I think you could do this strength training. Would you be interested? And I was like, I don't know.
Which is so funny now. Like, I think
know.
people who have taken your classes probably think it's weird that you were ever like unsure if you could do it.
I know. And I mean, like I said, I wasn't a stranger to muscle groups or working out or anything. So I decided to take a chance, and then I just loved those days. I mean, instructing when you're trying to help people through it and show them form. And I mean, like I said, all different fitness levels. Some people who are completely aware of every muscle in their body. Some people you have to explain to them what a bicep is. Like, this is what you're working right now. This is where you should feel it. So, and then started kickboxing instructing, and now I'm on a lot of mornings a week doing one or the other, and I just love it.
So you were instructing for a little bit before Chris came back, or no? Did Chris come back before you started instructing?
I feel
can't
like
remember.
He came back in August, so
Okay.
I hadn't started instructing, but I did coach. I think my second session.
Yeah.
I coached, which is just kind of a foreman of your group of 10 weekers. Like, hey, we've been through this before. I know what you're going through. Here's kind of how I approached it with getting my nutrition correct, because, that's a very large part of it. I mean, abs are made in the kitchen, not in the gym, you know, we always say that.
Yeah.
And, so I had coached, and then I was interested in instructing. And so that's just kind of how that went through. And I had mentioned to Jeff, my husband used to instruct, and he goes in the evening, I go in the morning. And, so as soon as Chris was kind of back at it and having some success and making it work, then he started instructing again in the evenings.
Yep.
So.
Yeah. We talk about that a lot because Chris and Jeff are very similar in the fact that they like to steal our classes. In fact, Friday, this past Friday, since we only had one gym this past week, Jeff came to my 6 a.m. class. You were there too. And guess what class he taught when he taught at 4:30 that day?
6 a.m.
Same class. He stole my workout.
I still feel like I've been hit by a truck through that.
Stole
sure
my workout, which is probably a good thing we don't take each other's classes, because he would just repeat my classes and like kind of upstage me. So
100%.
I won't be able to use that one for a while now.
Yeah, Chris did that. He's like, oh yeah, I taught this one. I think it might have been yours. And I'm like, you think it might have been mine?
Do you write workouts ever?
Was it in your handwriting? No. I'm like, who else is putting? We have a big binder and like several notebooks full of workouts. I'm like, who else would that have been? Of course it was mine.
Yeah. Yep. So we both kind of talk about that sometimes.
But we also say iron sharpens iron.
That's right. Yes.
I get a lot of great ideas from Chris too.
Yeah.
Some of the ones that we'll collaborate on, I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah,
that seems really intense. And then I'll do it and people will die. And then
living.
Like,
They're living.
Live. Yeah. Cling to life.
Living.
And then I'll go, yeah, I wasn't sure if I was going to do this, but Chris was like, hey, go for it.
Yeah.
And then I did. And he's like, yeah, I think that might've been too hard for them.
Yeah.
You told me to do it.
I know. That is true. We do all take stuff from each other. That's part of the magic for sure. So tell me about, because you know how it's like, what it's like, you've had children. So what do you think was different from your first time doing ferals pre-children and then your second time coming back after having children? Like, what did you have to do differently? Because I feel like a lot of times people who start ferals now are people who have tried everything. You know what I mean?
Right.
And so like and you might think like, oh, I used to run every single day when I was in my 20s. And then you think you can just go back to running and then it's not the same. So what do you think? What was different for you from 2012 to 2018?
Well, in 2012, since I'd been coming off a lot of running and doing some training, we'd start on those strength training days, and it's like, this is week 1, just use this tiny rubber band, yellow band, and and I'm like, I can do more than that, and I see it now with members too. I'm like, I can do more than that. I'm in shape. What's the problem? And then, it was actually a much better experience for me allowing myself to be a beginner because I truly had not done anything since I'd been able to run a mile or 2 prior to getting pregnant with my twins. And then, I mean, I was a geriatric pregnancy, so with twins. So they were like, hey, just calm down, just do your work.
Which is ridiculous. What's geriatric, like 30?
Well,
over a certain age?
She called it advanced maternal age. So at least there was, I'm like, I don't see how that's better.
Yeah.
But
No.
okay. You're like, fine. I see that you're trying to sugarcoat this. I know I'm over 35, but
right.
Everything was fine. And so I really hadn't done much, but I have an active job. I'm on my feet all day. So I think that was a lot of it too. If I had just been sedentary, I would do a little bit of yoga just to make sure my body was stretched out and stuff like that. But really, truly coming from a place where I had not had a chance to work out, and especially core strength after having twins and all of those things, and allowing myself to start at the beginning, my form was so much better. So I was really able to target those muscles, and I would come in knowing that this kickboxing was going to be so much cardio that I wasn't used to because I'd been doing 0, and not worrying about that I'm not showing up, that I'm not coming at it, with the same type of energy I would have had if I had been working out, and just allowing myself to just do what I can and catch my breath, and, having all that support in your class, and looking at some of the members that are really pushing themselves and really killing it and going, I want to do that. And then also looking at people that are at your same fitness level and going, we're actually doing really well, and encouraging each other. And I mean, the first time I finally missed a class, the coach that I had, for 30 weeks texted me that morning and was like, are you okay? Like, I know you don't miss class. Is everything all right? I'm worried, you know? And I'm like, oh yeah. I said, my knee is not working right or something. So I've just, took it easy and was icing and just went for a walk or whatever. And she's like, okay, yeah, that's fine. I just wanted to make sure you weren't, in a ditch somewhere or whatever, I know. And I was like, no, it's okay. And, you're able to come back and modify, and
I think that's important too. Like you said, when you're in that class. So for people who, we have a lot of ticket listeners that are signed up for the next session. So if you're worried about it or whatever, I think that's what's great about the group fitness atmosphere, because you can look around and you can almost always find somebody, you can find someone that is, like your goal, like, this is my goal. I want to be able to punch and kick like this person. But you can also like make eye contact with someone struggling just as much as you and be like, okay, we're doing it. We're getting through it. So I think that's what's really helpful. And then you'll always see people modifying. Like, I worked out yesterday and I took Jeff's fit class, and I can't do a lot of burpees. I have a back injury. It's much, much better now, but I definitely try to take it easy on stuff. And I can do burpees here and there, but he was making us do this like ridiculous burpee pyramid.
Shocking.
And so I know
shocked
for
by that.
8 minutes. I mean, we only got up to 10, but still. And I, me as the owner, the way I modify burpees is if I know I'm have to do a lot, I tip a bag over and I just put my hands on the bag and do an elevated burpee. And I did that the whole time. And I feel like, sometimes that can be hard for people to modify, but at the same time, when you're doing that, when I do that, I feel like I'm creating a safe space for other people to be able to modify also.
100%.
Because the biggest thing that I try to tell people is, don't let what you can't do keep you from doing what you can do. Like, I could just say, well, I can't do burpees, and Jeff's instructing, there's no way he's not going to do burpees in his class. So I might as well just not work out.
That's right.
Right. And so I think that's really important for people, anybody starting anything January, because everyone's thinking, okay, January 1st, what am I going to do? I got to make this New Year's resolution. Anything you're starting, don't let what you can't do hold you back. Don't let, if you have a prior injury and there's something that you can't do, don't focus on that. Focus on the 1,700 other things that you can do and still see kind of success. So I think that's important. And I think that's what happens when you come back to something that you're familiar with, but you're in a totally different place in your life, like you were when you came back. So like you knew you weren't going to be able, you knew your level 10 wasn't going to be the same, but that didn't stop you.
That's right.
From showing up every day.
That's right.
And giving your full level 10.
Well, you hear that though from people that start those 10 weeks that are going, we test out, we do push-ups and sit-ups, and they're just like shaking their head because they didn't do 500. Well, guess what? Nobody does.
Right.
Like
nobody cares.
does. And this is not about you being Iron Man right now.
Yeah.
This is just your baseline. We just want to see where you are and see if we can help you to get to a higher number in 5 weeks and 10 weeks and 20 weeks or whatever it is that we're doing.
Yeah.
And I think people fail to think about that. And it's because you go somewhere, there's people around, but guess what? There's probably somebody doing fewer than you are.
100%. Yeah. All right. So we are up against our first break. We'll come back and we're going to actually talk a little bit because it is the holidays. We're a week out from Christmas right now. So we're going to talk about a little bit of Christmas stuff here after this next break.
I'm dreaming of
winning thousands of dollars,
just like the ones
the Nebraska Lottery is giving away.
May your days be merry and bright
when you enter the Holiday Wishes Second Chance promotion.
And may all your holidays
be filled with lots and lots of cash.
I'm dreaming of
entering non-winning Nebraska Lottery Holiday Wishes scratch tickets,
just like the ones
you can find at any Nebraska Lottery retailer.
May your days be merry and bright.
How could they not, with chances to win $1,000, $5,000, or even $10,000?
And may all your Christmases be
green.
There are 2 drawings for winners, so visit your nearest Nebraska Lottery retailer today. Buy some tickets and enter our Holiday Wishes Second Chance promotion. Promotion ends January 4th, 2023. Top prize odds vary by game.
If you came across someone struggling with hunger, how would you recognize them?
By their clothes,
their age,
the way they speak.
Hunger can be hard to recognize. Learn why at IamHungerInAmerica.org. Brought to you by Feeding America, 200 Food Banks Strong, and the Ad Council.
Adoption of teens from foster care is a topic not enough people know about, and we're here to change that. I'm April Dinwiddie, host of the new podcast, Navigating Adoption, presented by Adopt US Kids. Each episode brings you compelling real-life adoption stories told by the families that live them with commentary from experts. Visit adoptuskids.org/podcast or subscribe to Navigating Adoption, presented by Adopt US Kids. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services Administration for Children and Families and the Ad Council.
Hi, this is Pastor Tom. Did you know there's a place kids can seek out help when they're away from home and something goes wrong? They find themselves in a difficult spot or even a dangerous situation. Maybe another child is bullying them or a stranger is following them. Perhaps on a date and things just go bad. In Lincoln, here's where they can find help. It's called Safe Place. Safe Place is a national program for children taking place in thousands of cities across the United States. The People Seeding Mission is sponsoring this program in our community and has set up a number of businesses, fire stations, schools, and nonprofits around the city to become safe locations where kids can seek out help. They just need to look for the big yellow sign that says Safe Place on it. Then go inside and ask for help. We will be quickly connected to them and ensure they make it back home or to whatever resources are needed. If you'd like to find out more about Safe Place and ways in which you can get involved, just go to pcmlincoln.org. Remember, when we all do a little, we change a lot.
Start your Sundays off right with Jeff and Nicole Essink on Fitness Fanatics. Jeff and Nicole discuss health and wellness, how to achieve fitness goals, and more through the life of gym owners and gym goers. It's Fitness Fanatics from 9 to 11 a.m. on Sundays on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Dance like a dad. It's a great way to make a moment with your kids. First, I hold my hands out like they're on a steering wheel. Then I look over my shoulder. Next, I put it in reverse. Visit fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
Victor deployed for the first time to Afghanistan in 2003. At 4 a.m, my phone rang. They said, "I regret to inform you that your husband was wounded in action." Victor sustained a moderate traumatic brain injury. I was doing school full time, and I was also then caring for Victor. One of the most important elements of caregiving is taking care of yourself. I just didn't want to forget that I also had goals and that I also had a life. What I did is I challenged Victor to meet me halfway. There are almost 6 million military and veteran caregivers across the nation. We have our own journey, and we can fulfill that journey at the same time that we are helping our loved one.
Visit aarp.org/caregiving for a free military veterans guide to navigate your caregiving journey and better care for your loved one and yourself. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
1 in 3 adults has prediabetes. 1 in 3. That means it could be you, your football buddy, your football buddy, or you, your best man, your worst man, you, your dog walker, your cat jogger. While 1 in 3 adults has prediabetes, with early diagnosis, prediabetes can be reversed. Take the risk test at doihaveprediabetes.org. That's doihaveprediabetes.org.
Wait, did they just say 1 in 3 adults has prediabetes? That's 33.33333% of adults. That means it could be me, my boss, or my boss's boss, or me, my favorite sister, or my other sister. That's 7 members of my 21-person romantic book club. Wait, the 1 in 3 could be me, my karaoke partner Carol, or my karaoke enemy Jeff. I'm going to take the risk test at doihaveprediabetes.org.
Brought to you by the Ad Council and its Prediabetes Awareness Partners.
Now back to Fitness Fanatics on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Welcome back to the Fitness Fanatics. I'm Nicole. I'm here with Molly, our guest host. Last segment, we talked about her Farrell's journey and kind of navigating that. So again, if you guys have any questions kind of about restarting a fitness journey, you know, we've both done that kind of multiple times. We've had children and coming back as a different person, basically. So if you have any questions, 402-464-5685. I had to look at that one because I didn't have it up, but I know. I was also telling a story during break I meant to tell this at the beginning of first segment. Normally Jeff drives here every Sunday, and oh my gosh, it's so much. And I'm driving Jeff's car because he's driving my car to Iowa, and his car is like 2011, and we've talked about how he just has trashed his car basically. Yeah, picks at it. And so there's always there's a new light on in his car that I've never seen before, so I'm gonna have to look that up and see what that means. I saw TikTok the other day and it was texting my dad because I started my car and there's new emojis I've never seen before. No, there was definitely a new emoji that I'd never seen. The low tire pressure one is almost always on in Jeff's car, but there was a new one, so I gotta look that up.
It's got the Christmas tree dashboard going on.
Yeah. Luckily only 2 lights, but one I'd never seen before, so I'm gonna have to look that one up, make sure it's not anything too serious. It's not pay attention to that stuff. But as I'm driving here, I had a moment. I was stopped at a stoplight, and I had a moment where my brain was like, are you even going the right way? Do you even know where you're going? And then I was going the right way, and I thought about it, and it's literally 4 turns from our driveway to the ticket. It would be really hard for me to get lost getting here, but it was just I was Jeff today. I was discombobulated, had just a million things going on in my head, but we made it. This segment I wanted to talk about because it's a week before Christmas, which it catches up every year. It's crazy this year, especially for us, because we crammed a lot, the end of a 10-week session, and then, which always happens, but then moving gyms, and last week's schedule was all messed up and busy. And I feel like this next week is going to go so fast. So are you ready, Molly, for Christmas?
I think so. I mean, I usually get a pretty early start on things. If I haven't bought gifts at all before Thanksgiving, that's
oh my gosh,
rare.
Gross.
I know,
I'm not that person.
I just get so overwhelmed.
Yeah.
And I start making lists, and by Halloween, if we're doing a name drawing, I'm we need to get names drawn because it's impossible to get lists out of extended family sometimes. So I did a lot of our shopping. I always think about that meme that's your husband Christmas morning when he's watching the kids open gifts, and it's just shock and awe because he has no idea what.
100%.
Yeah. So,
Jeff will know one thing that one of our kids opens because it was in the trunk yesterday, and he was like, "What's this?" And that's like probably pretty much the only thing he'll know when they open their presents. But I wait till the last minute all the time. I think I'm pretty much done. I have to get one more thing today, and then I'll be done, which is kind of a big deal for me. But we were talking about kind of Christmas traditions, and we'll bring you in on this too, Harrison. But what are your Christmas traditions? Like, do you guys have presents under your tree before Christmas?
We do. As I wrap them, I get them under the tree. So
like for your kids?
Mhm.
So your kids have to look at presents with their names on them
They
for
do.
like weeks?
They do. And then, a lot of empty threats about they're going to get fewer if we don't start behaving. I know that you've seen
I
some of
kind of
those.
forgot
Yeah.
about that angle.
Yeah, it's a good angle.
Yeah.
We like to do a lot of threats in our house, so it works out well. It's a great parenting tip. No, but usually we can get them to understand that, like, there's some under here now. If you keep messing with them and they become unwrapped, it really spoils the surprise. And if you spoiled the surprise, there's no reason to have it. So we got to leave them alone. You can count them, but they've obviously they're 5 and 7 now. So they've done a lot better with it than when they were, toddlers. We would just hold on and wrap them all like the 23rd. And I do not like having to sit down and wrap presents for 3 hours.
Well, you don't have to wrap them all the day. You can have them wrapped, just keep them hidden.
No, I keep them under the tree.
What about you, Harrison? What did you grow up with? Presents under the tree?
Yeah, a little bit of both. So they would have like the presents under the tree, and those were from my parents.
Yeah, obviously Santa comes, obviously,
and then
right.
the Santa, when the Santa came,
Yeah.
quote unquote, then there'd be a few more, but they were, we didn't have too many problems. Like we just couldn't shake them.
Because you have like a couple brothers, right?
3 brothers.
Yeah,
so we would just knew, I think like early on, like some of us were shaking it, and then I think Dad kind of scared us out of it, and we never really touched them again. So we never had too many problems. And then as far as other traditions, we always have prime rib. That's always our meal.
Oh, okay.
Which is awesome. I think
on
that's
Christmas Day.
Yeah, Christmas Day prime rib. That's our go-to. So good.
Interesting. So I grew up never having Christmas presents under the tree until Christmas Day. And so that's how we do it in our family too. And if Jeff was here, I'm very certain that his stepmom would always have, I'm almost positive, presents under the tree leading up to Christmas. But I don't know why, because I was an only child and I was a good kid. Like, I was never the kid trying to like get into stuff. But now that I think about it, I was kind of missing out on the like threatening your kids, like good behavior. But ours would always be, I didn't have an elf on the shelf, but I had the concept of an elf always watching. And so that definitely helped. But I just think that's interesting because our kids and I remember it just being so magical coming into the room Christmas Day and like it's transformed. And I don't know, we just never have. I just kind of, the presents from us, I just wrap them and I'll do that this week, and kind of keep them hidden. But I don't know why we never did that. We had dogs that maybe would get into stuff, but I mean, obviously we didn't wrap food, so they wouldn't be.
Well, we open all of our stuff on Christmas Eve.
Okay.
So all the things from family is opened on Christmas Eve.
Okay.
Santa fills your stocking, so you do have a big surprise in the morning. From him, and that's always really exciting too, because you ask mom and dad for certain things, and over the last few years, you always hear that of like, hey, maybe Santa doesn't bring an iPad, that kind of thing.
Yes.
And it's like, well, that's true. So Santa fills our stockings and we wake up to some really neat little surprises the next morning. About the tricking and shaking, I remember my older sister wanted this specific coat and she had begged my mom for it. And I firmly remember this. And so they'd wrapped it and put it in their closet. And then for her bigger gift, they had a box that size, but they'd broken up like plastic hangers. So she's picking it up, shaking it like, this isn't the coat. What is this? And then she opens it and it's just plastic hangers, and then they give her the coat. But I just remember they were like, she's going to know if, so they tried to trick her.
I know. I was just curious. I feel like I've always grown up that way. Our kids have always grown up that way. So I have just in the last couple of years starting asking other people, and I'm realizing that I'm definitely in the minority of like not having any presents under the Christmas tree. Even I've tried putting presents under there, not for the kids. Well, part of that for me is because I do sometimes procrastinate. So that would be a lot of work to like, I'm usually still shopping like up until even, 2 days before Christmas, but I know what I want to get them. I just haven't gotten it yet. But, and I would have tried putting like other family gifts. It just looks weird. It's just weird to us. So
Do your kids though, like, cause I know for my parents, I feel like half of it too is if they wrap them up, we can't go and find them where they're hiding them in the garage or wherever.
My kids really do they like that moment on Christmas.
Oh, so they wouldn't even try.
No, they don't really try.
Okay.
And for a long time, I would just keep everything in the trunk of our car. And so they would never really, I could even wrap presents and put them in the trunk of the car and they wouldn't really look in there. But now I just kind of keep them in a room. They kind of know not to poke around in there because it spoils the surprise. They really love the surprise, the magic of Christmas, even though they're 16 and 19 still. So they really like that. But other than that, our big tradition is growing up, even as a little girl. So our tradition when I was small was I would take a bath on Christmas Eve because my mom would always put my hair in those little pink foam curlers.
Spongy,
Yeah. Yep. So I would just have like just a coil of curls in the morning. So sometimes we also had those ones that were like, they look like little rags, but they had the poof in the middle, the white one. So it kind of transformed into those at one point. So that was I would take a bath. And while I was in the bathtub, there would be a knock on the door and an elf would bring our, I'm talking about the Christmas pajamas right now. Jeff's texting in. First of all, you should be driving. Yeah, I know. Literally talking about it right now. So sorry, Jeff texted in. And there would be a knock on the door and the elf would bring my Christmas pajamas. And that tradition has continued. And even at 16 and 19, the kids still ask who the elf is, how the pajamas show up on Christmas Eve. So
we have pajamas on Christmas Eve too.
Yep.
So we do that. Yeah.
So that's kind of our fun tradition that we do each year. But as far as Christmas Day, we have cinnamon rolls in the morning and that's about it. And then kind of just hang out. But as now that we moved away, we don't do a ton of like family stuff. So we will go see some of Jeff's family this Christmas Eve, just for a little family get together. But it's mostly just our kind of our little family. But just kind of wanted to talk about that a little bit. But we'll go ahead and take a break. I think our guest is here actually, so we'll probably bring him in for the next segment, and we'll be back.
This year, give the gift of delicious food, incredible service, and a lasting memory with the Pillar Restaurant Group gift card. Our holiday gift card special is back. When you purchase a $50 gift card, receive a $5 bonus card, or purchase a $100 gift card to receive a $20 bonus card. These cards can be used at all Pillar Restaurant Group locations, including Venue Restaurant and Lounge, Piedmont Bistro, Cactus, and all Lincoln Good Sense subs. Available for purchase at any of our concepts or online at prgnebraska.com.
The year has been a great year for Aspen Builders. We have had many repeat customers, and we worked with a lot of new people building their dream home.
Bob Benish of Aspen Builders, and they've built neighborhoods in and around Lincoln for over 25 years.
It's amazing when you go through the building process. Okay, what do I need in this home? I need the 4 bedrooms. I need the walkout basement or to perfect lot, design the home, get everything that we need, and then we add those one things. We add the gourmet kitchen, we add the big walk-in pantry. What we try to do is balance a budget with things that you really need in the home. Get items included in the home that you won't find just in any home anymore. So in the end, you've got the perfect place.
Make your dream home a reality and call Aspen Builders at 423-6811. Online at aspenbuildersinc.com. Your home is waiting at Aspen Builders.
People first is more than a nice sentiment. At American Senior Benefits, it's the mission. If you're ready for a career where you can truly put your customers' needs ahead of everything else, this This is for you. American Senior Benefits is one of the leading senior market insurance product distributors in the country, and they're looking for high-energy applicants with strong communication skills. Enjoy on-the-job training, a fun work environment, and unlimited income potential. Visit asbmidwest.com to learn more. American Senior Benefits.
Ashiro's work is never done. You care for the house, the kids, and our future. We're so grateful for all you do. Now, it's time to care for yourself and save a little more for retirement. A free 3-minute online chat can give you the personalized tips you need to boost your retirement savings now. Visit aceyourretirement.org/Shiro today.
A public service announcement brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Early Break with Sip and Jake.
Bill Moose joins us on Early Break, former Nebraska athletic director. Leach had run into some trouble at Texas Tech, but you decided he was your guy. Why?
Mike Leach reminded me of me, coloring outside the line, innovative, being competitive, finding a great joy in figuring out how to beat somebody and they don't know how you beat them.
Early Break with Sip and Jake from 6 to 8 every weekday morning on 93 The Ticket.
This is how we do every day. We be grinding, and if you wanna come and text us,
If you love them enough to turn off your music and pretend like their music is your music,
This is jam.
you'll check nhtsa.gov/the right seat to make sure they're in the right car seat.
Let's play it again.
Check today at nhtsa.gov/the right seat. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Victor deployed for the first time to Afghanistan in 2003. At 4 a.m, my phone rang. They said, "I regret to inform you that your husband was wounded in action." Victor sustained a moderate traumatic brain injury. I was doing school full-time, and I was also then caring for Victor. One of the most important elements of caregiving is taking care of yourself. I just didn't want to forget that I also had goals and that I also had a life. What I did is I challenged Victor to meet me halfway. There are almost 6 million military and veteran caregivers across the nation. We have our own journey, and we can fulfill that journey at the same time that we are helping our loved one.
Visit aarp.org/caregiving for a free military veterans guide to navigate your caregiving journey and better care for your loved one and yourself. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
I get it, slip it, cuff it, check it twice a day.
I get it, slip it, cuff it, check it in the morning and before dinner.
I get it, flip it, cuff it, and share it with my doctor. Nearly 1 in 2 U.S. have blood. That's why it's important to self-monitor and remember steps. It's with a monitor.
Now that I know my blood pressure numbers, I talked with my doctor. We're getting those numbers down.
get it, slip it, cuff it, check it. Talk to doctor now and share it.
Be next to talk to your doctor about your blood pressure numbers. Get down with your blood pressure. Self-monitoring is power. Learn more at manageyourbp.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council, the American Heart Association, and the American Medical Association, in partnership with the Office of Minority Health and Health Resources and Services Administration.
Now back to Fitness Fanatics on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
We are back with our guest also. So we have Molly as our co-host, Molly Pearson, and Kane is in studio now. He was our fall session $1,000 winner. And this is our short segment. So we're going to bring you into our previous conversation. How are you doing, by the way?
I'm all right. Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead and pull the microphone a little closer to your face. There we go.
All right.
Yeah, Kane is very quiet. So we will be we'll be definitely kind of pulling the information out of you, which is fine. That's okay. That's okay. So what you heard our last segment, growing up, what was your kind of Christmas morning experience? Did you guys have presents under the Christmas tree? Please be on my team this time.
Well,
I have a feeling you're not, though.
we did stockings under the Christmas tree.
Okay.
So a little different.
Yeah, but like leading up to Christmas, you would not. You would have presents under the Christmas tree.
When I was younger at our old house, we did do presents under the tree, but my family always liked to trick us with what was inside.
Mhm,
So.
yeah.
Oh yeah, we were just talking about that.
Yeah.
Yeah. uh-huh.
No, I know. I don't. I just don't think that would have worked with our kids. I don't know. They're not sneaky like that.
You're the only person that I'll be honest. First time I've heard that.
I know.
Have you ran into other people?
I haven't asked. I'm going to start asking because I think it's interesting. And I really wonder why. I'm going to have to ask my parents, like, why I grew up that way. Now, both of my parents had lots of brothers and sisters. So I feel like it probably had something to do with that. I feel like the more kids you have, the harder it would be to kind of wrangle all those gifts and keep them from like getting into stuff. But
Yeah, I think that's part of it. And just like I said, I don't want to sit down and just wrap presents to infinity.
But
Like,
you
I
don't
haven't
have to.
done it.
You wrap them ahead of time. You just don't put them under the
know.
tree.
I know, but then I put them under the tree. Like I said, it's leverage. It's leverage.
That
I
is
can use it as
true.
leverage for them. Like, okay, well, count them now. If they start to disappear, you'll know how you've been
Well,
behaving.
I need to know if there's no one else out there. We're the only family, because I'll have to ask. And I even asked my daughter because she's been with her boyfriend for a long time, and she's going to be very strict about it and no presents under the Christmas tree till Christmas Day. Like both of our kids are very regimented in their traditions. And so I can't imagine that even if her boyfriend, Andy, if they grew up with presents under the tree, she's not going to do that. It's going to be, so maybe we're starting something new. I don't know, but I'm going to have to ask my parents why we did that. And I was an only child for a long time. So that might've been it too. Like, I don't know, but maybe my mom procrastinated also and didn't get anything done until the last second. Maybe it's just a really easy kind of answer, but yeah. Do you have any traditions now, Kane, that you guys do? Like, what are you doing this year for Christmas?
Well, don't really have any huge plans for Christmas this year, but something that we've recently been able to do now that I live with my fiance is we just got a Christmas tree this year. So it's the first time that we're doing that.
As an adult, this is your first year having a Christmas tree?
Yes.
Really?
Yay. Well,
Yeah.
it takes a while.
No, I guess
it takes a while.
I guess I
He's still a
literally
lot
went
younger
from
than we are.
I
Yeah.
went to my house to Jeff and I's first apartment. Like I graduated and got married 30 days later.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
we've
Yep.
always been together and always had a Christmas tree. Is it a real Christmas tree?
It's not.
Okay.
It's
Is
one of
anyone
those,
else as team real Christmas tree?
I got a real one.
You do?
Yeah.
Okay, Molly.
We always had a real one growing up.
Yeah.
And I do not.
Oh.
No, it was fun. We'd go pick it out. That was kind of our day after Thanksgiving tradition was Friday. You know, I was from a rural community, so it wasn't like a Black Friday thing.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
we would get in the car and eat chocolate covered peanuts. And on the way,
I
I
love
don't
that.
know why.
Yeah. No.
Still, every once in a while, my mom talks about it.
Yeah.
And then we'd go to the tree farm and pick out a tree and burn our mouth on the cider they had there while you were waiting. It was always piping hot. And then come home and decorate and put up all the Christmas stuff the day after Thanksgiving.
We've always had a real tree, and I'm realizing just this year it's not as important to our children as I thought it was. But the real reason we have a real tree is because we have cats. And so like the first couple years, cats are just a-holes when it comes to Christmas trees, fake Christmas trees. Like we've always had cats. Jeff and I, every house we've lived in, different cats, obviously we've been together for a long time, and so the first couple years they were just, I think when we maybe moved into our first house, we started real Christmas tree and found that the cats stay out of that one because it's like sticky and pokey and, it's just not as fun as an artificial tree. So we do, but we don't have a fun tradition. The tradition for getting our real Christmas tree is, and it's actually one of my favorite Christmas traditions. It's usually just me and Jeff, and we go to Lowe's. And I know
The magic.
I know.
Yeah.
That's not the magic. So we get the tree from Lowe's, and then we generally have cars. Like we haven't had an SUV for a while. So my favorite thing is wrapping the Christmas tree up in a sheet and then shoving it into the car like the Grinch. Like it definitely feels very Grinchy because the tree is hanging out like one side of the door, the window. You have to roll one window down and you have to shove it in the car. And it's like this tree wrapped, like sheet wrapped tree. Cause you can't just have it on that like wrapping they use because the needles will fly off everywhere. So that's actually one of my favorite Christmas traditions because I always feel like people are always like, what are those people doing? Well, it just makes me feel really much like the Grinch. So that's kind of that's how we get a real tree. But I don't know, this year we haven't even decorated our Christmas tree this year. It's been a very weird Christmas. We got it. Remember, if you're a listener to the show, you'll remember we got the tree. What game was that, Harrison? Before the Black Friday. What Nebraska game was that?
Wisconsin?
Yeah, where we lost and Jeff
Mhm.
was mad and he needed joy in his life. And so we went and got the Christmas tree before Thanksgiving. I put lights on it and the star, because we always have a tradition, the kids get to alternate which year who puts the star on. So that's always a big thing. So I have to go back into my memories to see who put the star on. Katie put it on this year, so she got to put the star on. So we just have a tree with lights and a star, and
left it at that.
It's fine. It's still beautiful. You know, you get the glow of the Christmas tree. And now it's just been so busy. And even the kids are like, I don't know. It seems like a lot of work for you, Mom. You're going to have to put it all away.
Yeah, I think you got the lights
Yeah,
on. That's really what I'm looking at. You know, you get a dark room and your light. I think you're good. I think you're good.
We have the lights on a timer, so they turn on. They're on in the morning. So when everyone wakes up, the lights are on. And then when the lights go off, then we should all pretty much be in bed. So we kind of have it on the little thing. So it's been a weird year for us. But I think that's pretty normal, too, as we're transitioning into having older children. And, you know, you just kind of got to make new stuff. I don't know. It's kind of weird.
And then Jeff from the text line again, he asked, Molly, did you get your tree before or after the Nebraska game on Black Friday?
Or put it up?
Oh, did we put it up Black Friday after? Actually, no, probably during. I was disallowed from watching Husker football. But, I mean, we were all pretty sure it was me. And then I watched a volleyball game that we lost.
Yes.
And so my husband's like, get out. Like, so you cannot watch anymore. I'm like, I'll take the blame. That's
like
fine.
you were
That's
the bad luck.
Yeah,
charm.
from me. I'd be like, oh, we're winning. Let's turn the game on. And he's like, no, do not. You are not allowed. So
that happens to me too. If happen to be in a room and something happens, then I have to stay in that room for the rest of whatever. Well, I mean, if they had their way, but they don't. But so yeah. All right. Well, that's it for Christmas talk. We just had to get through I was really wanted to hear that stuff. So we're going to take our break and then we'll be back and we'll talk to Kane about his 10-week kind of journey with Pharaohs those last 10 weeks. So we will be back.
My name is Rebecca. I struggled with depression for years. I also smoked. That was I realized that smoking wasn't helping me. It was making my life. So I took control. I quit. Now I'm able to again and take walks with my grandkids. My tip is there's another world out there, and it's a beautiful place to be.
Call the Nebraska Tobacco Quit line, 1-800-QUIT-NOW, 1-800-784-8669. Paid for by Tobacco Free Nebraska. Aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
My early Alzheimer's diagnosis was hard to take, but it gave my mom and me more time to plan together.
Talk to your family about seeing a doctor. Go to alz.org/time to talk. A message from the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
Alexa, play 93.7 The Ticket.
Okay, playing 93.7 The Ticket.
Alexa, turn down the lights.
Dimming the lights.
Alexa, order a pizza. The big one. All the toppings.
Are you sure that's a good idea?
Alexa.
That's a lot of pizza for just one man.
Alexa, just do it. Stop judging me, just do it.
As you wish.
Thanks, Alexa. You're my best friend.
Hey, you got any gum?
Yeah, check backpack.
What's this?
Oh, that's naloxone. It can reverse an opioid overdose. I decided to always keep it on me after my friend almost died. It saved his life.
I'm so sorry. That makes me want to have it with me too.
You totally should. Check the pharmacy. It was actually really easy to get and it's easy to use.
I definitely will. Thanks.
Paid for by the CDC. Sponsored by Nebraska DHHS. Aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
A smoke-free environment is the only way to fully protect from the dangers of secondhand smoke. That's why smoke-free policies are so important to me. Whether it's in my car, apartment building, or when I'm dining outdoors, there's no place for secondhand smoke or e-cigarette air. Breathe easier knowing the facts. Visit smokefree.ne.gov. Paid for by Tobacco Free Nebraska. Aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Turning my pain into purpose is pretty much what I have done to start this foundation.
In August 2020, after the death of George Floyd, Floyd and other family members established the George Floyd Memorial Foundation in support of the Black community.
It's going to take more than just us as a foundation. It's going to take the community, the world, to make a change.
Fight for racial justice for the Black community. Learn how at lovehasnolabels.com. Brought to you by Love Has No Labels and the Ad Council.
Adoption of teens from foster care is a topic not enough people know about, and we're here to do that. I'm April Dinwiddie, host of the new podcast, Navigating Adoption, presented by Adopt US Kids. Each episode brings you compelling real-life adoption stories told by the families that live them with commentary from experts. Visit adoptuskids.org/podcast or subscribe to Navigating Adoption, presented by Adopt US Kids. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services Administration for Children and Families and the Ad Council.
Environment is to fully protect from the dangers of secondhand smoke. That's why smoke-free policies are so important to me. Whether it's in my car, apartment building, or when I'm dining outdoors, there's no place for secondhand smoke or e-cigarette aerosol. Breathe easier knowing the facts. Visit smokefree.ne.gov. Paid for by Tobacco Free Nebraska. Aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Nebraska State Veterans Homes are here to serve veterans, their spouses, surviving spouses, and Gold Star parents. Join your fellow veterans and their families at one of our homes in Bellevue, Kearney, Norfolk, or Scottsbluff. With a sliding scale to determine your financial contribution, an excellent clinical team, and plenty of fun activities, our home is our choice. Learn more at veterans.nebraska.gov/homes. Sponsored by the Nebraska Department of Veterans Affairs, aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
I think it's just vapor. Vaping is safer than smoking, isn't it?
There's really not even that much nicotine in them, right?
One vape pod has as much nicotine as one pack of cigarettes.
My kid
knows it's dangerous. 5.4 million American kids vape, and most think it's harmless. Get your head out of the cloud. Talk to your kid about vaping. Talkaboutvape.org. That's talkaboutvaping.org. Brought to you by the American Lung Association and the Ad Council.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com.
On the internet.
KNTK FM for 87 The Ticket. Now back to Fitness Fanatics on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
All right, we are back. I had to do at least one Jeff intro. He says that almost every time. Fitness Fanatics. We have talked about Christmas. We're going to talk about fitness now with Kane. Again, if you have any questions or comments, you can text in 402-464-5685. Jeff has texted in a couple times. Hopefully talk to text. I don't know. He's supposed to be driving to Iowa right now. But so we kind of briefly introduced you, Kane, with a little bit of Christmas talk. But so we want to talk about kind of your journey here in the last 10 weeks. You were our big $1,000 winner on our session. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah. So what got you started? What made you decide to start at Farrell's?
Well, for about a month before I even found out that Farrell's did this 10-week challenge, I had already decided on my own I was going to start dieting. I had realized, I had some back injuries, and that was kind of what started it. And then my fiance came home from work, and you guys were doing some sort of promotion through
Brian.
Hospital. Yeah. And yeah, she's like, let's do this together. And I said, that sounds like a great idea.
Yeah, I know. Weird. I was just thinking about that. Now, Kirsten had done it before, right? Yeah. Farrell's before. Yeah. As a teenager. Is that right?
Yeah, I think she was 14.
Yeah. Yeah. Like with her mom or parent or something. Or she just do it by herself?
Her parents put her in
okay.
In the program.
Yeah. Yeah. Awesome. So what kind of leading up, think back 12 weeks now or whatever, prior to starting Farrell's, like what were your expectations? What did you know about? Had you heard of Farrell's at all? Like what were you kind of thinking you were getting yourself into?
I didn't know the name, but I knew kind of the program because my fiance had done it before.
Yeah.
I was expecting a lot of boxing type stuff,
like sparring boxing,
more like bag work.
Okay,
which is something that does happen.
Right? So. Yeah, like heavy bags.
Yeah, heavy bags.
Okay, like hanging heavy bags instead of our standing bags. Yeah. And then let's talk about the first week. What was the first week like for you?
hectic.
Yeah.
Getting used to, we just kind of chose a time. We didn't
Mhm.
really have any rhyme or
Yeah,
reason.
because like I know Kirsten has a crazy schedule. She works and is going to school, right?
Mhm.
And then what's kind of like what do you have going on outside of Farrell's?
7 days a week of work.
Okay.
Yeah, so both of us are pretty busy.
Yeah.
And we figured, 5 a.m., that's a time where most people don't have a lot going on.
Mhm.
So we figured that would be the least busy time.
Yeah.
And we were wrong.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I know. It's tough. But I mean, you guys always made it work. Did you guys both had perfect attendance?
Yes.
For the 10 weeks? Yep. I know Kirsten came a lot of different times. She came a lot midday, sometimes at night. She definitely made, and you were at 5 a.m. quite a bit though,
Mhm.
right? Yeah. So, yeah, talking about being hectic, I always like to tell people, that there's a saying, all great change is preceded by chaos. And that's week one. Week one is chaos, I think. Like you got to get through that chaos. So you started with a big group. You started at that 5 a.m. class, same class as Mark, right? So you kind of see Mark on Weiler during your classes. You start with him. So it's a big class. That first week, it was hectic. Like, what were you kind of some of the things that you struggled with in that first week? If you can remember.
Getting used to the bands.
Okay.
That first
Yeah.
week, just it was a different kind of exercise I hadn't done before, and it's surprisingly effective.
Right.
I wasn't expecting it to be as tough as it was. So.
That's what Harrison says too. He talks about that. Molly, we all kind of, it is like, it's so different because, so for our listeners, because Molly said, I've came from a strength training background, and you think you can come in. Now, what about you? What was your background prior to this? Like, did you have workout experience? Had you been doing some stuff on your own?
When I was younger, I went on a big hike, and a part of that, I did do some strength training. So a lot of weightlifting.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. So I think a lot of people come in with this having done weightlifting, even if it's part of strength and conditioning in school, high school, college, for sports or just for fun or whatever. And so just for our listeners to kind of explain the strength training aspect of Farrell's and why people say that it's surprising. So the thing about Farrell's strength training is we do use resistance bands, and we have resistance bands in multiple levels: yellow, green, red, blue, and purple. And part of the group fitness aspect is the instructor is in front of the class, kind of guiding you, especially those first couple weeks, like suggesting to you which band you should use. And then sometimes people who have, like Molly, who have had background in weightlifting, you think, okay, the instructor's telling me to use yellow on these lateral raises, this shoulder exercise. I have done this before. I have strong shoulders. You're looking around and you have people that you can tell have never exercised before too. You maybe saw them in kickboxing. They have no idea what anything is, what a squat is, what a push-up. They struggle. And so you maybe don't listen to the instructor. But what you don't know is that we're not just doing 8 reps of those lateral raises to start. We want you to start on a lighter resistance that first couple weeks, because we're working on your muscle endurance, right, Molly? We're
Yep.
working on building that muscle endurance
and form.
Yes.
And all those important things where you're actually targeting that specific muscle grouping. And it's not just the big part of the muscle. It's all of the things that support your joint in that work, which is so important, whatever fitness level you are. And I think the biggest word said over and over and over about our strength training, humbling.
Yes. It is definitely humbling.
When you are a guy that's come in, I mean, we've got a couple fit members at the Meadow Lane location that, you look at them and they're like Superman, and then they get down and they'll drop down for some of those exercises. And you're like, if that guy is only using a yellow or green, maybe I better rethink my choice here.
Right.
Yes.
And as an instructor, I'll sometimes point that out to our members, because as instructors, we both know, Molly, that it can be hard sometimes for one, and Kane and Harrison, you guys have probably kind of experienced this too. I'm kind of a stickler about it in class. Sometimes I'm encouraging to go heavier because, for example, we do glute exercises. And if you're trying to use a yellow band to do a glute exercise, your form is going to suffer because it's going to be too easy.
That's
So it's
right.
almost going to be harder to do it correctly because it's easy. So it can be confusing as an instructor. I'm like, don't even grab that. Like, no, you have to start with green. I'd rather have you use nothing than use this yellow band that's just going to really throw your form off. And then other times we're like, you're really going to want to band down on this one, and I think that can be confusing, and maybe you two can kind of describe if that was confusing to you. But the thing is, like, we know what's coming. We know what exercises are going to be coming. We know what you've done prior to that and how, maybe some of the back exercises that we did ties right into the shoulder exercises that we're getting ready to do. So you're not super fresh, and we don't want you banding up super high. Or maybe it's the first exercise you're doing of the day, and we're like, all right, it's time to like kind of push it a little bit. So it's a tightrope for us as instructors and for you guys as like members. So is that something that either of you guys had experienced kind of at Farrell's that was different? Harrison, Kane?
Yeah, absolutely. I think like you said, some of those lifts, for me, the first lift that like what Molly was saying was humbling was definitely those lateral raises.
Yeah.
Just a yellow band, and they're like, probably go light for this one, right? Because your straight arms out.
Yeah.
You think it's gonna be easy, and then I was like, no, I'll go green.
Right.
And then I got through my first one, and I was like, already like, oh my god, this is killing me. And then I looked around, and I was like you said, all the other dudes in here, with long arms, like they're going yellow. So
Yeah.
I'm just not. I could barely get through it.
Yeah.
And then there's other lifts where usually the instructor will say like, hey, if you made it through that one all the way through, go ahead, band up on that one.
Right.
So like they'll kind of tell you like, hey, if you're making it through these, then you probably should go ahead and band up. So they, like you said, they're pretty good at like vocalizing on what you should be thinking about as you're going through those lifts. Like, do you need to go down or up? And they'll kind of tell you where to start too. So that's kind of my experience with it. But yeah, like there's some lifts you'll figure out either the easy way or the hard way.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
And taking those cues to heart is so important because we are the only ones in that class as the instructor knowing what types of rep grouping are we doing? What types of muscle grouping? Are we doing all of our chest stuff first? Are we breaking it up so that you're getting a rest? So I think that that's really important too, is like actually listening to your instructor, even if it seems like they're being unreasonable.
But usually, especially on some stuff, like I'll tell someone to band up maybe on like standing cross chest fly, a chest exercise that you can band up pretty quickly on. And then a couple exercises later, I'm telling people to band down. So like I always say, like, see, I'm not a monster. I'm not just trying to like push you. But so Kane, like how long did it take you till you could kind of stop? Because there's a point, especially if you're being really consistent, there's a point where you start to learn your strengths and weaknesses. How many weeks in do you think it felt like that you were like starting to rely on your own kind of muscle experience, without having to really rely on the instructors quite as much?
Probably around week 3.
Okay.
I started experimenting around week 2, but I'm still not 100% confident.
Yeah.
There's sometimes where I'm, they're starting the class and you're like, yep, today I'm going to be using, yellow, green. And then suddenly it's, oh, I need yellow.
Yeah. Just yellow. I know. I do that sometimes as an instructor. Like like you think, okay, I'm going to try it. And you like behind the head press is a good example. And you're like, okay, I'm going to try it this time. And you're like, nope, instantly. And you kind of have that space to be able to put it down. But I do think that strength training part of our program is very different than people who are coming from a background where you maybe always done it yourself. But to me, that's the benefit, because you're learning more about the functionality of your muscles and stuff like that. So hopefully that's translated. I mean, obviously, because you did really well within your kind of your 10 weeks there. But and then what about kickboxing? What were your kind of first thoughts of kickboxing?
I didn't really know what to expect. I did some karate type stuff when I was really young. But other than that, no, I had no clue what to expect. And I had ended up missing the orientation of how to use the bag. So those first couple days were a little confusing for me.
Yeah.
But everyone was really kind and got me caught up, yeah.
At orientation, we do typically try to do a little bit, if we can, some technique. Honestly, this next session is going to be such a big group. We might not even be able to have space to do an orientation, a technique part. But even if you were there for that part, it's just confusing. You were there, right? You did that first technique.
It was, I think we had to double up too on orientation. And then first day I was still in there.
Like, right. It's all gone.
Just go with it and you'll figure it out eventually.
Yeah. Yeah. But you kind of feel like you hopefully you feel like you have the time and the space to be able to kind of go at your own pace, right? Like, did you ever feel like you were kind of out of place, or were you always kind of felt like you were able to kind of go?
In high energy places, it takes me a little while to get
Oh yeah,
comfortable,
I
but-
remember you've talked to Jeff about like the music and stuff before. That can be kind of, is it distracting or is it just
overstimulating?
Overstimulating,
yeah.
But once you kind of get used to the environment, I mean, it all went pretty smoothly.
Yeah, awesome. So do you know like what your stats were? Like how did you finish? Do you remember? I should have looked this up. I can look, but if you don't remember, do you remember like inches lost, body fat, stuff like that?
I could guess.
I can look. It's fine. I meant to do this sooner, but
I did meet they had the postcards. They are goals.
Yeah.
And I wrote down that I wanted to increase, the amount of push-ups and sit-ups I could do by 200%. I do know
Okay.
that I reached that.
by 200%.
Wow.
Are you a numbers? You're a numbers person then. You're not, because I remember you also logged your food very consistently.
Yes.
And sent me your food log and kind of sent me that. And I would always take a peek at it, but that's more for your like accountability to make sure that but it seemed like you were always really good at hitting your numbers and stuff. So that's surprising to me that you're like not a numbers person. But looking at your kind of your stats, overall you lost almost 22 inches.
Wow.
Yeah. 21.75 inches.
I was
overall.
thinking that's what I read was like 20. Yeah.
Yeah.
21.75.
Yeah.
Whatever reason
Right.
that number popped into my head. But yeah.
Almost 22 inches lost. Your body fat percentage went from 32.9 to 28.7. Really good. And then your push-ups went from 14 to 36. How'd you feel that first day versus that last time doing your push-ups?
After I hit that 14 on the last day,
Yeah.
I was shocked. I'm like, wow, I can keep going.
Yeah, there's still time. Now, in your first minute, did it take you the full minute to do the 14, or did you run out of push-ups before you ran out of time? Like sometimes, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah. The first 10, it took me almost the whole minute.
Okay.
And then I had to take like a 10-second break, and the last 4 were me trying to
like push
eke
them
some
out.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's always crazy how that can be like, it's the same minute, that's crazy. That's the thing with sit-ups too, because it's hard to kind of sometimes have a sit-up goal, because once you get stronger, you kind of run out of time before you could keep doing sit-ups. I think that's always, yes.
I still remember that my 10-week when I obviously was coming off of having twins and all of that.
Gosh,
and
yeah.
I was like, I'm doing it. And then it was like 6, 7, 8. I got to about 11, and I think we still had 40 seconds to go.
Yeah.
And I literally laid there and just, tried.
Yeah.
Just like writhed around trying to get one more out. And I'm like, this is awful. But then, I remind people of that when they start, when I'm at orientation and they're like, I'm like, do not say embarrassed.
No.
Like everybody, you have to start at the beginning.
Yeah,
You
I
can't
did
start
10
halfway through.
Yeah, I did 10. My
Yeah.
first
Yep.
minute was 10 sit-ups. My son was 5 months old at the time, and so like I hadn't done a sit-up in forever. I don't know, so I didn't have an expectation. Did you, Kane, have an expectation or like a thought in your head of like a number?
I thought I could do a lot more.
Yeah, right. I know. I think that's usually how it is. If you want to talk about bands being humbling, I feel like those push-ups and sit-ups, super humbling. Even more humbling than that first minute of push-ups, sit-ups is how sore you are for like a couple days. You're like, I exercised for 2 minutes.
Well, not
I'm
only
so
that,
sore.
but 100%, because I went ahead and went on and did the year-long challenge.
Yeah.
And so you do that same testing out every 10 weeks for a year. And so I'm instructing by then. I am pushing it, and I improved on sit-ups and push-ups the whole way through. But just cranking out a full minute of push-ups as hard and fast as I can, I would be like, I'm a mess for 3 days.
Yeah.
Like I cannot.
There's
Please
something
don't make
about
me.
that adrenaline. I think as an instructor, we feel that too. You get this like instructor adrenaline where
Yeah.
and it makes you so you can do things that you could not normally do. That's also why Molly and I have a lot of nagging injuries, I feel like, because we,
Yeah.
because we don't feel anything while we're
No.
instructing. We're running on pure
No.
adrenaline, and then we can't walk for the next
Hobbling
3 days.
around,
Yeah.
doing everything else. It's true.
Fitness after 35, or I don't know how
yeah.
old you are.
I'm 44.
Okay, so yeah, you're older than me. I couldn't remember. Fitness after 40. It's super fun. But and then so you're speaking of sit-ups, you did 16, so you beat both of us. I only did 10. You
I
did 11. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then 27 in 1 minute at the end. So great job. What?
Yeah, well, you're kind of making a face,
Yeah.
but really, I mean, if you think about how long it takes to do a sit up,
Yes.
even if you are, I mean, if you can crank out 30, that's fast.
Yeah.
And you were like,
you're right there
at it. So it's really hard to do beyond 30, I think, in a minute.
Yeah.
If you're sitting all the way up and back down.
I think at some point that if you really want to challenge yourself on sit-ups, you have to kind of push it to like, how many can I do in 2 minutes?
That's right.
Yeah.
Yep.
'Cause then that's when you hit that. You
That
have
wall.
to find the wall and then try to like push past it. So yeah, those are great stats. I mean, and now when you came into this, did you think you were going to win $1,000? Like, I'm going to do this, I'm going to win 1,000, because you guys are getting married in August?
In June.
June. Okay. I was thinking April or August. I don't know why I was totally wrong. So you guys came into this like, okay, we're getting married. We got to, kind of get this kick started. So did you have that in your thought that like, maybe I could win?
I really didn't think that I had any chance.
Mhm.
So
You don't seem super competitive.
but
But maybe
it depends on what it is.
Yeah, me too. I'm only competitive if I know I can win, which makes me really competitive and obnoxious at board games, basically.
Or why you always challenge Jeff to stuff, because you're gonna win.
Well, I can usually beat Jeff on most things, not on pull-ups. There's some stuff, but yeah, I
Oh,
wouldn't
yeah.
challenge him on that. I wouldn't challenge him on pull-ups, but yeah. So talk about. We just have a couple more minutes here. So you did this with your fiance. How did that work? Like, as far as, did you guys eat the same things? Because Jeff and I don't eat the same. Like, he eats the same, like 5 things. I would get tired of that. So I don't eat the same. We don't eat the same stuff. So how did you guys kind of fit that in, the nutrition part of it, with 2 people doing it?
I would not have been able to do it by myself.
I knew you were going to say that. That's what the men always say.
Well, I mean, it is true.
No, it is.
I do a lot of the cooking.
Good.
So
Yep.
right after the gym, we'll go home, and we kind of developed a routine. And sometimes we just found it's easier just to eat the same thing every day, and somehow it's not boring yet. So we're probably
Good.
going to
Yeah.
continue.
No, that's great. If you can do that, then totally do that. That's awesome.
So I'll cook breakfast, and then she's responsible for her own lunch. I'm responsible for my own lunch, and then dinner. We normally figure out, okay, what do we need left? How much protein? How much fat do we have left? And then we have a couple recipes, and we even stole some from HelloFresh. We stole some of their recipes.
I think that's great about
We do that
those
too.
meal planning things, because like HelloFresh, because I think it does, and I've never used it, but because when I was learning how to cook, it wasn't a thing. But so if you guys have used that, it gives you it gives you a little more confidence, really, maybe too, right? And then you don't have to rely on it forever.
No, we did the trial, and now we just have the
Yeah.
recipes that we can just go through
Mhm.
over and over again.
Yeah,
And so
that's
We do that
awesome.
too.
That's
And
a
you
great
can
hack.
modify them too,
Exactly,
pretty
yeah.
easily. I think there's a lot of unnecessary butter in their recipes. Like, hey,
Probably.
once that rice is done, stir in 2 tablespoons of butter. That's lovely, but what I'm looking for is just rice.
Right.
Like, I don't need all that. So
I'm too cheap too, because butter is freaking
I
expensive.
know,
I'm
I
not trying to
know.
put 2 tablespoons of butter in a meal, because it's like $5 for
Yeah.
4 sticks of
Yep.
butter. I'm too cheap for that. So
I substitute a lot of their sour cream and stuff with just cottage cheese.
yes,
Oh,
cottage
yeah,
cheese is
yeah,
the
or Greek
best.
yogurt,
Greek
yeah.
yogurt's
Yep,
good too, but
that
Greek
works well.
yogurt's more expensive. See, again,
I know.
cheap.
Again. Mhm.
I'd rather buy the cheaper stuff for sure. But awesome. Well, let's go ahead and take a break here. We're at a good kind of stopping point, and then we'll come back and we'll talk a little bit more about kind of the journey here.
This is Jay Foreman, 93.7 The Ticket. Talk to you about Battle in the Vault. 3 games, 1 ticket for the whole day. Are 1, 4, Mississippi State against Drake, Nebraska against Queens University, down to the TBA here, and don't be.
This message is Shauna, my mom, who just finished her high school diploma. I want to say I'm so proud of you for finishing school. You told me it's never too late to achieve your dreams. I hope to make you as proud as you have made me.
When you graduate, they graduate. Finish your high school diploma for you and for them. Visit finishyourdiploma.org to find free and supportive adult education centers near you. Brought to you by the Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.
When we're building homes for people, we're really trying to advise on the things that are going to create value so that when they go to sell it, they're going to have equity so that they can go build their second home.
Bob Benish of Aspen Builders, and they've built neighborhoods in and around Lincoln for over 25 years.
You know, the year has been a great year for Aspen Builders. We have had many repeat customers. We've been very blessed with great office staff, with great employees, and great subcontractors. We worked with a lot of new people building their dream home. We've built some great relationships. A lot of those relationships will continue. We'll be building them another new home down the road. So I'd like to take this time to wish all of our past customers and our future customers a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
Make your dream a reality. At 423-611. Online at Builders.
Alexa, play 93.7 The Ticket.
Okay, playing 93.7 The Ticket.
Alexa, turn down the lights.
Dimming the lights.
Alexa, order a pizza, the big one, all the toppings.
Are you sure that's a good idea?
Alexa.
That's a lot of pizza for just one man.
Alexa, just do it. Stop judging me, just do it.
As you wish.
Thanks, Alexa. You're my best friend. The Ticket Water Cooler with Jake Bakoven and Enrique Alvarez Clary.
With Tony White in his 3-3-5 system that he's going to bring to Nebraska, do you think that's a fit in the Big Ten?
It does seem like a type of defense that allows for a lot of different formations at the point of attack. It's not that they're only going to have 3 down linemen, it's that it allows for pressure to come from a lot of different spots. In terms of, rushing the passer, which is something that Nebraska has kind of been lacking in.
On 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Public schools are the cornerstones of our communities, and it's communities that ensure students have great public schools. I'm Jenny Benson, President of the Education Association. Learning happens at home, in school, and everywhere in between. We all have a role to play in supporting student learning in the classroom and beyond. Help us make this the best school year yet.
Sponsored by the Nebraska State Education Association, aired by the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
If you or someone you know is having thoughts of suicide or experiencing a mental health or substance use crisis, call 988 for free, confidential, and compassionate support. On July 16th, the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline is transitioning to 988. There is hope. For 24/7 support, call, text, or chat 988.
Sponsored by Nebraska DHHS, aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Okay, kids, Dad's gonna teach you how to dance. First, spread your feet apart. Then, pump your knee, nod your head, shake your hips, and bite your lip ever so slightly. Now, with one hand in the air, point at people with the other hand. I call that the rock star.
Dance like a dad. It's a great way to make a moment with your kids.
Now, make a face like it just smells something bad.
Visit fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
The captain, Vershawn Jackson.
It is well documented on how Winston Peter and the Black Shirts treated Scott Frost in practice when he transferred back home from Stanford.
What we do to Scott Frost? We didn't do nothing to Scott.
It's documented. You don't know? You haven't read about it,
Yeah,
Terrell?
we did it.
You were there.
We did it. We did it. You sure?
Oh, yeah,
you sure right. And it was fun. Yeah.
Don't act like you wasn't part of that.
Yeah, I was.
Weekdays from on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Now back, Fitness Fanatic. 93.7 The Ticket and theticket.com.
We are back. Welcome back to Fitness Fanatics. Again, we're going to be talking a little bit nutrition here. We're kind of talking about stuff off air, and I think it's really important for people to kind of hear that part too. So if you have any questions or suggestions, 402-464-5685. Text in with questions. We did have Pecan Pie piping in about not hating on butter. Listen, I'm not hating on butter. I actually use butter, probably butter and olive oil.
Oh, we
in our
love
house.
butter.
Yeah,
I could roll around in it.
It's just
it's not that we hate it.
It's really expensive.
It
Every
is.
time we go to the grocery store, I'm like, how is this $5 or whatever. So that's all. And it's hard to sometimes, if you're counting your macros, it adds up, but I would never tell someone not to use butter. You want to use it sparingly, and it adds flavor and it adds a little fat, so it'll keep you full. So there's definitely nothing wrong with butter. But so off air during the break, we were talking about nutrition. So let's kind of keep that conversation going, because as Molly, as you had mentioned, it's of any type of new health and fitness journey that you start, that nutrition is going to be the biggest thing, like especially with ferals, because all you have to do for their exercise is show up, and we're going to tell you what to do. And so you don't even really have to think about that part. You just show up and we'll tell you, and then you get to go home and live the rest of your life for the day. So Kane, you were talking about how much your palate has changed in the last 10 weeks. So go ahead and kind of expand on that. Like what were you eating before you started?
Anything and everything.
Typical standard American diet.
Yeah, cheese, all that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
In general, pretty much anything that you wouldn't originally think is like super sweet. It's just like everything's been tuned up.
Yeah.
Everything that wasn't supposed to be sweet is now extremely sweet, and even desserts are almost too much at this point for me.
Yeah. So like you've transitioned to maybe more like fruit being like
Mhm.
better, kind of. Yeah. That's my thing with fruit. I tend to sometimes forget how much, we talked about this too. I tend to sometimes forget how much I like fruit, because you just don't always, whenever I plan my meals, it's protein, carbs, but usually my carbs are more starchy, and then I'll kind of get tired of like stuff, and then I'll think back. This is part of the reason why a lot of times I'll go on little kicks where I post my food, like on social media or whatever. And really the reason I do that is because I like it when it comes back around on my memories. Like that's been happening a lot lately. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I totally forgot how much I love, frozen cherries with yogurt. I haven't had that for a long time.
Almond and coconut flake, which I stole from you. But I know. I totally understand what you mean, because I'll think about that too. It's something that I haven't had for a long time, and I'll be looking at my macros going, well, I'm good on protein and fat. What doesn't have much of either of those or any of that has carbohydrates? Oh, right. Eat an apple.
Right. Apples.
Yeah.
I know. I love apples. And then you get sick of them, and then you don't eat them for a while.
Yep.
That's kind of what I think we all kind of tend to do.
We're on the
that.
winter fruits now, so it's a little bit more difficult because you just don't have, but there's a lot of different things that you can do with them.
Yeah.
So.
Or frozen fruit.
Frozen
really
fruit's
good.
Yep.
Yeah. So Kane, talk us through what does like a normal day now of eating look like for you guys? Because you're continuing, both of you. And also shout out to Kirsten, because she was in the top 5 too. So she did awesome too. Her transformation was amazing. What does a typical day of eating look like for you now?
I actually have my
Very
my
good.
food log with me.
Yeah, tell us.
Normally for breakfast, it's eggs and some sausage, and the sausage adds the fat to cook the eggs, so that's pretty helpful.
Yeah.
And then normally a 4th cup of cheese, and that's all I have for breakfast. Sometimes a protein drink on strength days.
So a little lighter on carbs for your breakfast, which is totally fine. Yeah, because it's a little heavier on fat with the sausage and the cheese. Perfectly fine. Nothing wrong with that.
And then normally for lunch, it's just kind of whatever I have, something quick. Recently, I've been eating a lot of chicken meatballs that you can get at Costco. Those are pretty delicious.
I love meatballs. Do you eat the chicken meatballs from
we
Costco?
do the chicken meatballs. I haven't gotten them from Costco. We've been getting the Fresca.
I love the
Those
Fresca.
are so good.
Yeah.
Or the honeysuckle white turkey meatballs are really good.
I bet the Costco ones are way cheaper, and they're probably frozen.
So.
Yeah.
Yep. You know they are. Yeah.
Meatballs are great, like winter meal. I love. Yeah. So continue. Meatballs. What do you have with that?
Normally, I just put them on some bread.
Yeah.
I found this really delicious brand of bread, Sara Lee Delight. So
they're 45 calorie. Yeah.
And that helps me get my carbohydrates up. And then for dinner, it's always something. And this is a trend I just kind of realized. It's always something with either turkey or cottage cheese.
Cottage cheese is magical. Do you like cottage cheese, Molly?
I do. Yeah.
Okay.
No one else likes it. I can't get my husband on it, but
Has he
I'll buy it
tried
from time to time.
blending it with an apple and drinking it?
No, I know that that's a Jeff thing.
It's so gross.
Jeff's
Don't do
still
it.
alone there on that one, Jeff. But I do when I blend it in with my eggs. We've done that.
Kane
trick
was
with
like,
the
"What?"
kids. Oh yeah, he drinks it.
Yeah,
No, don't
it's so
even.
gross.
You can't.
Ugh.
There's no. But when we've been blending it with our eggs to scramble,
So
you get
good.
this really rich, cheesy flavor from your scrambled eggs. They're really fluffy. They taste great, and you're not having, the actual cottage cheese experience, which I think it's a texture thing for
It is.
Chris.
I get that.
And so I'll make it, and he's like, I don't know. Like most of the things that I try out that Nicole suggests, I don't know about this. And then I'll make it, and he's like, it's actually really good. I'm like, I know, and super high in your protein. And yeah, she just dropped her pen
I know.
like she was dropping the mic.
I
She's like,
know.
I know.
I've been starting to see on TikTok the cottage cheese and eggs trend, and I'm like, I have been doing this for years. I get so mad. I
Yep.
swear I invented it. I probably didn't. I can't have, but I don't. Where else would I have came up with it? Because I have been doing it for years.
Oh, we
So-
all have a thing like that.
Right,
I thought of
yeah.
Redbox before it was a thing. I mean, we all have a thing.
Red box. It's not even a thing anymore.
I
right?
know.
I know. But no. So if you do not know, do you do the cottage cheese and the eggs hack? Have you ever done that?
I eat them separately.
Okay, no. So what you need to do is mix your cottage cheese in with your eggs. Harrison, have you ever done this?
I'm out on cottage cheese.
Okay, then you have to do this because it will convert you.
What does cottage cheese have in it that's like what you really need?
It's
Is it
just really
your
high in protein.
Is that what you're getting out of
Yeah.
it?
Extremely high.
Yeah.
It has a really great, it's like almost all protein. Like a lot of dairy, it's hard to get protein without carbs because there's carbs in like milk and stuff like that. I mean, not cheese, but it's lower in fat than cheese, super high in protein.
And you can pick your poison on the amount of fat too.
You can.
If you're really looking to
Yeah.
cut fat out for whatever reason, then you can get fat free or 1% or 2%. So
I always just buy what's
yeah.
cheaper.
Yeah.
I don't know why I'm so cheap when it comes to groceries. Do you like scrambled eggs?
Yeah, I love scrambled eggs.
Okay. Oh
so
my
as long as it gets rid of it's like the texture thing
Nope.
for me as
Yeah.
well. So as long as
It
it gets
melts
rid of that,
right in, and it
and
literally
I don't taste any sourness.
No.
Like, I just
No,
Cottage
it
cheese
just
is not
tastes like
sour.
cheese, and we use like the immersion blender,
Yeah.
so it breaks it all up. It liquefies the cottage cheese
Yogurt.
in with
then,
your
then,
eggs.
then it'd probably be good. I
Yeah.
could probably sign up.
because you do blended cottage cheese.
Yeah. We have a really good hack that we recently learned. You can go out and get like ranch seasoning.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And add it.
which has no
No,
calories.
yeah.
It's just the
and you just
seasoning.
put it right into cottage cheese, and now you have a dip, that-
Vegetable dip.
yeah,
Yeah.
vegetable dip,
Yep.
and it's, what's that one brand? Hidden Valley.
Hidden Valley.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's smart.
You can even thin it out a little bit with some
Mhm.
milk and use it for salad dressing. Cottage cheese is magical.
Or spread it on your sandwich.
Yeah.
Like
Mhm.
ranch on a sandwich.
Put
Yeah.
it in egg salad
Yep.
or tuna.
Yep.
So good. Cottage cheese, it's magical. But if you are anti cottage cheese, the first thing you need to do is get it and blend it so it's smooth. That's the number one hack because you can use it for so much stuff. Like in any place where you'd use sour cream, use cottage cheese. That's an easy swap. And then the next time, Harrison, you make eggs, you don't start small. So do your like 2 eggs or whatever, and just put like a spoonful of cottage
Okay.
cheese. Mix it together. It will melt in, I promise. And it makes like the fluffiest eggs. They're so good.
Yeah, well, even like your power porridge recipe with the oatmeal.
That one's a little of a tougher sell. I would
Peanut butter.
Yeah.
But it is like if you have an oatmeal peanut butter cheesecake type thing going on because you've got the cottage cheese. a little
cottage
bit of
cheese
salty
mixed
and sweet.
in to
Yeah.
oatmeal is really good, but
Yeah.
you wouldn't like that because it
Yeah.
still looks like cottage cheese.
Although you could just take it from the
You could
blended.
You could
yeah.
blend it. I don't know. I like having those little bursts of like the salty
Yeah.
cottage
Mhm.
cheese with like the chocolate and peanut butter.
Mhm.
I do like that.
Yeah.
So Kane, back to your dinners with turkey and cottage cheese. So what do you make with turkey and cottage cheese?
Well, with cottage cheese, it's always blended.
Yeah.
It's a texture thing.
So you didn't like cottage cheese.
I loved cottage cheese. Kirsten didn't.
Okay.
So yeah, it has to be blended.
Good.
But it doesn't bother me either way.
Yeah.
And
Me either. But I blend it a lot.
Bonza pasta noodles.
Yeah?
We'll
Oh,
make chicken
yeah.
Alfredo with it, just some Italian seasoning, cottage cheese, and bonza pasta. We also make macaroni and cheese. Throw a little bit of Colby Jack in there and cottage cheese. It makes a really good.
You need to post those on the Fit page.
I know.
Those are great ideas.
Although I have posted that stuff before. I've totally talked about adding ranch seasoning to cottage cheese. Like I've talked about cottage cheese and scrambled eggs before. I feel like I'm talking to a brick wall. I'm just kidding. I know. I'm just kidding.
We did steal your clean bars.
Those Bear Bell. What?
The clean bars you recommended? I'm pretty sure that's where
clean. No, that wasn't me.
You had a list that Katie got from you, or Kirsten got from you.
Did it look like
Bear Bell?
No.
Oh,
I don't know who.
Those are the ones I like. Bear Bell bars.
She might have got the brands confused.
Well, whatever. As long as you like them and they're good protein bars. I might have shared something. I was shared some other One bars, Quest bars.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not a big. So Pecan Pie said, cook the cottage cheese with the eggs, or add when done cooking. Cook them with the eggs.
Yeah, blend them right into your cottage or your scrambled egg mix.
Yeah,
just like you would scramble up the eggs to throw in a pan. Scramble it with your cottage cheese.
Mm-hmm.
And in an immersion blender. It tastes like cheesy eggs.
Oh my gosh, it's so good. I think I have a tutorial about it. I'll post it on our Fitness Fanatics Instagram page later this. Not today. I have too much stuff to do today, but later this week on our Fitness Fanatics Radio Facebook page, I'll share that. But yeah, hopefully we gave you guys some good. What do you do with turkey? What's turkey for you?
We do a lot of anything that would normally have like beef.
Yeah.
We'll replace it
like
with turkey.
Ground turkey.
Yep, ground turkey. Or we'll also do like chicken nuggets with turkey.
Mm-hmm.
Those are really delicious.
Have you tried the chicken nuggets from Costco, the golden platter ones?
I have not.
Oh, I posted about those. You need to try those. They're incredible. What the macros are like. What do you get? Like, I don't even remember.
5 nuggets, I think, is a serving.
Like 14 grams of
Yeah,
protein for
it's-
5.
it's
And so I
pretty high.
usually have 10.
Yeah.
Yes, I know.
Yeah,
So-
you can have 10, or
Yeah.
we'll do the chaffles. Do 2 chaffles and put them on there like a breakfast sandwich.
Yeah, I
So
haven't
you've
posted
got
about chaffles in a
cheesy
while.
egg waffles
Yeah.
and
golden
nuggets.
platter.
Yeah.
Golden platter.
Golden
okay.
platter chicken nuggets. They're incredible. But listeners, if you try the cottage cheese, let me know. It is so good. Just mix it in. You can add in, a whole. You can, if you normally eat 3 eggs, you can just do 2 and sub that protein for a 1/4 cup of cottage cheese, and that's the same protein as 1 egg, but you get a lot less fat. So 2 eggs. But I would start small. If you're not sure, do just 1 spoonful. And then sometimes if you put a little too much cottage cheese, it'll get a little watery as you're cooking it, but just keep cooking. Like the moisture will cook out. You just have to scramble it a little bit longer. But highly recommend. I could talk about cottage cheese. I could do a whole episode of cottage cheese.
And you almost have.
I know.
So,
A segment. I've done a whole segment of cottage cheese. It's very inexpensive. It's an inexpensive protein source. It's like very versatile. I think that's the biggest thing that I love about it. You can have it with fruit and make it sweet. You can have it savory. You can make it into macaroni and cheese. Just anytime you need a little extra protein. I love cottage cheese and salads. Like I'm not a big salad dressing person, so I can just put cottage cheese on a salad, and it's good in egg tuna salad. I feel like Bubba on Forrest Gump.
Oh, yeah.
So, all right, we'll go ahead and take a break here. We'll make this segment a little bit shorter, and then we'll do our final segment here, and we'll talk about what Kane has going on, going forward. So we'll take our last break here.
This is Jay Foreman, 93.7 The Ticket. Talk to you about battle in the vault through the whole day. 2 December times are 1 in Homer Weston. Number 20 at PBA. Be there and don't be late.
Get a lot of advice about self-care these days, but one of the most important self-care steps we can take is making sure we're financially secure later in life. For small steps you can take to save for retirement, visit WeSaySaveIt.org. A message from AARP and the Ad Council.
This is your captain. We are going to be experiencing some slight turbulence. Please fasten your... Oh, hold on. Just got a video of my cat.
Imagine the pilot of an airplane was as confident as you are texting and driving. Seems kind of crazy when you put it like that.
Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
Hi, this is Pastor Tom. Did you know there's a place kids can seek out help when they're away from home and something goes wrong? They find themselves in a difficult spot or even a dangerous situation. Maybe another child is bullying them or a stranger is following them. Perhaps on a date and things just go bad. In Lincoln, where they can, it's called Safe. Safe Place is a national program for children taking place in thousands of cities across the United States. The PCD mission is sponsoring this program in our community and assesses fire stations, schools, and nonprofits around the city to become safe locations where kids can seek out help. They just need to look for the big yellow sign that says Safe Place on it. Then go inside and ask for help. We will be quickly connected to them and ensure they make it back home or to whatever resources are needed. If you'd like to find out more about Safe Place and ways in which you can get involved, just go to pcmlincoln.org. Remember, when we all do a little, we change a lot.
Early Break with Sip and Jake.
Bill Moose joins us on Early Break, the former Nebraska athletic director. Leach had run into some trouble at Texas Tech, but you decided he was your guy. Why?
Mike Leach reminded me of me, coloring outside the line, being innovative, being competitive, finding a great joy in figuring out how to beat somebody and they don't know how you beat them.
Early Break with Sip and Jake from 6 to 8 every weekday morning on 93.7 The Ticket. Alexa, 93.7 The Ticket.
Okay. Playing 93.7 The Ticket.
Alexa, turn down the lights.
Dimming the lights.
Alexa, order a pizza. The big one. All the toppings.
Are you sure that's a good idea?
Alexa.
That's a lot of pizza for one man.
Alexa, just do it. Stop judging me, just do it.
As you wish.
Thanks, Alexa. You're my best friend.
Hey, it's me. We need to talk about something serious. I know you love me. I know you like using me wherever you are, but I feel like this isn't working out when you're driving. I know you may think that it's possible to focus both on me and the road, but I just don't feel the same way. I think we should spend time away from each other when you're driving. It's for the best.
It's stoptextstoprex.org. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
I grew up hearing that women are bad with money, but like many of you, I spent years paying bills, managing checking accounts, and taking care of my family. So turns out women are pretty good with money after all. And now I'm taking control of my financial future by saving for retirement. It's never too late to start, and there's a great website to help you. Check out WeSaySaveIt.org and jumpstart your retirement savings on your budget line. That's WeSaySaveIt.org. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
I wanted to quit for so long, but I didn't know where to start.
I was afraid of what people would think, but then I found the right support to start my recovery journey. 1 in 14 Americans reports experiencing a substance use disorder, a treatable medical condition. Treatment can take many forms, so there are a variety of options to explore and find the one that works best for you. Recovery from drug addiction is possible.
Paid for by the CDC, sponsored by Nebraska DHHS, aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Mario fue pintor más de 30 años. Cuando me dijo que se le estaban olvidando las cosas, fue difícil. Un día me dijeron que pintara el marco del lado por dentro y pinté el lado de afuera.
Le diría a la gente, le diga a su familia lo que está pasando con él.
Si algo se nota diferente, podría ser Alzheimer. Es momento de hablarlo. Visita alz.org/nuestras historias para saber más. Un mensaje de the Alzheimer's Association y the Ad Council.
Are you a veteran looking for a new companion animal? A dog? A cat? Or maybe something else? The Nebraska Department of Veterans Affairs Vets Get Pets program can cover up to $350 of your pet adoption fees. Visit veterans.nebraska.gov/vetsgetpets to learn more about program requirements and how to apply. Want to help support the program? Get your Vets Get Pets specialty license plates from the Nebraska DMV. Sponsored by the Nebraska Department of Veterans Affairs. Aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Now back to Fitness Fanatics on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
We're back for our final segment here with Fitness Fanatics. We have Molly and Kane. Harrison's running the board for us. It's our last show of 2022. So we won't be tomorrow or next week's Christmas. So we won't be on air for Christmas, but we will be back on New Year's Day. So I hope everybody has a great Christmas. But for our last little segment, Kane, let's talk about kind of what. Oh, also I want to shout out Mary Harris is watching, and I know she commented.
She's so awesome.
I know she said she misses misses us. We miss you too, Mary. She said there's no crying in kickboxing.
I think that was one of mine, but
It
yeah,
probably
yeah.
was. No, we definitely miss you too, Mary. Thanks for listening. But so, Kane, going forward, so you guys, we finished the session last week, and do you guys have perfect attendance this week?
We did.
Yeah, I thought so. Yep. Awesome. So what are your plans kind of going forward here? I know Kirsten's already asked me some of this stuff, but yeah, I love that about her. She asks lots of questions. I'm sure you love that too, because you get the answers by
A
association.
lot of times I ask her to ask
Yeah.
the
Oh my
question.
gosh. She always asks questions. I love it.
I think we're both going to attempt the 1-year challenge whenever that's available.
Yeah.
And,
Yep. We'll get that link
yeah.
out to you guys, and you can kind of get going. Molly has done the annual challenge, the national
so
challenge.
Great. I mean, it really is. It's, you feel like after your 10 weeks, like I want to keep this momentum going.
Mhm.
And that
Mhm.
year challenge, no matter how it ends up, like you keep that momentum going, because you're kind of going through those trenches again of weeks 1 through 10. And every time you're starting at a higher level, and you're really trying to get that perfect attendance, and it's a good commitment. It really is.
What I like about it too, and we talked about this with Mark, is 10 weeks is kind of just a snapshot of what's going on, but to really be successful, you need to know how to make it fit into your life. And I think a lot of that is fitting it through every season of your life too. You can carve out 10 weeks and hit it really hard, but if you don't kind of continue or continue doing something beyond that, then it's really, it's a great story to tell that you did something. But this will be interesting for you, because when you guys do that national challenge, you'll be going through your leading up to your wedding, and then post wedding. And if you really think about it, that's what's going to help keep you like starting your lives off together, and finding ways to make it like really consistent throughout the whole year, where things might be changing. Because I know Kirsten's in school, right? Well,
Mhm.
is she graduating anytime soon, or
She's graduating, and I'm going back to school.
okay, yeah, right. Yeah, so you'll be shifting schedules, and you'll have that there in the back of your mind of how I hit the mic to navigate each of those changes. And sometimes the 10 weeks will be great, and sometimes you'll stumble a little bit, but you'll still always have that to kind of come back to.
That post 10 weeks, I think, it's a place where obligation from the 10 weeks that you had turns into necessity. I get up really early. I start my day off with the workout, and for a long time I've compared it to my morning cup of coffee. It's as good as my morning cup of coffee, and you just don't feel the same if you haven't started your day with that workout. And I feel like that's really where it becomes that true habit. And
Mhm.
I mean, it's such a great challenge to go through, and like you said, go through every season, no matter what it is, and still feel that necessity rather than the obligation.
Mhm. Yeah, because it takes time. It takes time to make that switch where it becomes just a part of your day.
Well, and a lot of people, I feel like it's their second and third 10 weeks where they really get
Oh yeah.
more of that toning result and those really big transformations. Some people see it, right away at that first 10 weeks. And for me, like my biggest transformations were in 20 weeks and 30 weeks and beyond that. So,
Well, and on the flip side, sometimes you see where people continue and they're really consistent with their workouts, but then they start bringing back some of the nutritional bad habits.
That's right.
Right.
I mean,
And then
I've
you
done that
stall.
through
Oh my gosh.
COVID,
I
through
do it all the time.
pandemic. I mean, that was just, but
Yeah.
the workout sticks.
It happens all the time.
Yep.
It happens to Jeff talks about it. It happens to all of us. You kind of get stuck in kind of this back into this like cycle. But then you always know that you know what to do, and you can get back at it. As long as one thing stays consistent all the time. As long as that workout stays consistent, you will be able to kind of get back track. You can just tell yourself, I've done it before, I can do it again. You just get back on track. Or even if the nutrition part is easier for you, which I've never met one person that it has been, but surely someone's out there where nutrition's easy for them. If that's easy, then you can fall back on that. And then maybe you don't have to rely on exercise as much, but I exercise because I like the way it makes me feel.
Same. And motivation is fleeting. We know that is, I'm just not motivated. How do I get that back? Well, you know what? You don't.
Right.
Dedication to your health is really what keeps you going. And, motivations for different goals come along depending on, different fit challenges that we do. And depending on, sometimes you're like, all right, I've been doing this for 30 weeks and I've got 10 weekers starting and I really want to show them, how strong you can get. And sometimes that's all it takes too.
Mm-hmm.
So
any last words of advice for anybody starting off?
Just stick with it.
Yeah. That's a big one.
Just keep swimming.
Yeah. So we like to bring in, since we've been doing this program since April, we bring in our $1,000 winners each time. We really like to do that because we like to show everybody that there's not one type of person that Farrell's is good for, or that even working out, there's not one type of person that can be successful when it comes to health and fitness. And I say this every time, anytime we say Farrell's, it's really about anything, being consistent with exercise and nutrition. And so we like to bring you guys in because sometimes it's the loudest person in the room that wins. Sometimes it's the quietest person in the room that wins. It's not just one person, one body type that can be successful in our program. So, you can go back and listen to our podcast. We've had each of our winners on each time, and it's been, we've had women, we've had men, people with children, people without children. It can be something that you make it what you make it what it is. You put the time into it, and you start with a new group of people, and we get different results, but kind of all going swimming in the same direction. So I think that's why we like to bring,
and it is all about
everybody
you.
in.
It's just you. It's you go into the gym, and this is just all for you. And I mean, we've just been through an onslaught of illness at my
your house. Yeah.
And I'm just like, not that Nicole even needs to know or care, but I'm like, you will not see me tomorrow. I've got people, I'm in the trenches,
right.
But just because I know she does care,
yes.
But it's definitely been kind of you miss that amount of giving that time to yourself.
Yeah.
It's not for anyone else, but for you.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Well, I think we'll go ahead and wrap this one up. Last show of 2022. Thanks a lot, listeners. If you have any questions about our next 10-week session that starts January 7th, fxblincoln.com, or you can text Jeff at 402-310-4026 for more information. And we will see you on New Year's Day. Have a great Christmas.